still got attempts coming in, baby. That's a fucking... oh yeah, I've already closed that. No, there's just a lot of sunlight right there. That's crazy. I don't know what I can do to fix that. Nothing. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Corboy. We're back at it again today with a new video, and of course, we got some Halo Infinite news to talk about, some stuff that I'm really fucking excited to talk about, some more insight as to what's coming to Halo Infinite, and honestly, I could not be more excited. And I got some other things to talk about as well, but the main thing is some news that we got regarding Halo Infinite that kind of actually makes the future of this game look promising. Oh god, we've hit mark at each other. But it makes the future of this game look actually really promising. I know a lot of people were really concerned that Halo was coming on its down end where we're ramping up towards the new game, and that could for sure be true. Of course, I'm not going to say anything because I don't know if we have a new game coming yet, and if we do, that's awesome. If we don't, then that's okay. But it seems like Halo Infinite is getting a lot of love right now, especially when it comes from the dev side of things. Today we got notice that there are going to be some changes and some reverts to things that they have added and, you know, just changed within Halo Infinite. One of those being something I'm actually very excited for when it comes to weapons, and that is the return of the Disruptor doing damage over time. So if you don't know, the Disruptor originally had this effect where if you would shoot somebody enough times with it, it would start dealing damage to them as time went on because they were under the shock effect. Kind of like the Dynamo grenades do, for example. They would just take continuous damage over time, and it would kind of ramp up and up. It would just help with a quicker TTK on that weapon. But with that being said, and also having that changed, they've also announced that the way that its weapon's going to kind of work to deal the most amount of damage and to be the most successful with it is instead of being, I think it's a 6-shot kill, it's now an 8-shot kill, so it's 2 super combines in a row, which really isn't that difficult to get with the Disruptor as long as you're hitting 8 shots back to back, and the thing fires pretty damn fast, and you're not going to have an issue. But I think it's going to add to this weapon having much more viability than what it's had in recent times, which has been actually kind of a thing that's upset me. I remember when I started playing Infinite, I absolutely loved the Disruptor. It's been one of my favorite additions to Infinite when it comes to its weapon sandbox. It felt like a middle point of a bunch of different weapons. It kind of felt a little bit like the Needler, but it also felt a lot like the Shock Rifle because it had the shock effect on it. But also on top of that, it just kind of felt like it had its own personality. It felt just like a unique weapon that you could pick up and get really, really good with. And I am personally, you know, all for that when it comes to Halo's sandbox. I like weapons that have a little bit of uniqueness to them. Something that just ties around and it kind of plays a little bit differently than most of the weapons on the map, and I'm very excited for that. Of course, some other ones as well. The Bandit, they are lowering the fire rate on both versions, so the Bandit just regular and the Bandit Evo. They are also decreasing the reload time for the Skewer, which is one of the biggest drawbacks of that weapon. So it's not going to take as long to reload, so you can fire it much faster, get those shots out, and honestly, that kind of excites me because one of my biggest issues with the Skewer is I'm like, damn, this would be a really cool weapon to go for, like, clips and shit with, but it just is too fucking slow to do so. So you just never really get a chance to go for those clips with that weapon, even though it's supposed to be kind of like a sniper rifle, but deal, you know, significantly more damage. And honestly, that just makes me really excited. I hope it's kind of got the speed of near like what the Binary rifle had, if y'all remember that from Halo 4 and 5, where it's a one-shot kill no matter what. It has a reload in between each shot, but it's a little slow, but also it has the ability to still hit those clips. And if we get something like that, I think that weapon could be probably one of the most viable weapons in the sandbox, where it's fast, but it takes a lot of precision, but if you get really good with it, you can actually deal a fuckload of damage with it and just get a lot of kills on the map. So I really do hope that goes really well and it works as intended and just adds new life to a weapon that I don't think has had much life in a minute due to the network update, and just how weapons work now due to that update. Other than that, though, of course, we got some more insight towards the Forge update. There's still some other weapon stuff to go over, but it's like usually weapons I don't really care about. It's a lot of like the super weapons, so if you do play like, you know, certain BTB modes or Fiesta, Husky Raid, stuff like that, it's going to be more up your alley for that. Personally, not my thing, but if you do like that kind of stuff, go look into it. Of course, it's over on Halo Waypoint. They also did a post everywhere as well, kind of talking about it. The other big thing, and this does not apply to weapons directly, but it applies to a weapon, I guess, type. They are now bringing back grenade jumping. So if you don't know what grenade jumping is, I landed right in the fucking acid. Damn me. But if you don't know what grenade jumping is, basically what would happen in Halo is if you hadn't taken any damage, you could throw a grenade at your feet and it would launch you. So you could like jump up to higher areas with it, which is like with the exception of, hey, I'm taking damage. It was always a really cool thing in Halo. It always showed like different movement techs, like get out of fights and get out of certain areas. And I am very excited to see that kind of making its comeback with this update that's getting ready to drop next week. So there's a lot to be looking forward to, but also I want to put out something there because this could be the time to finally talk about it. And I've talked about it before in past videos about, is Halo Infinite ever going to get new weapons? Are we ever going to see new additions to the sandbox, new things to use and try out? And if I'm being completely honest with you, this looks like it could be heading towards a route that we may end up seeing some new weapons added to Halo Infinite, which really does excite me. I hope they are, you know, resourceful weapons and good. I hope they get added maybe into some ranked if they do fit the, like, what ranked is supposed to be about. So overall, I'm very excited if we do, and I hope that's what this does lead to, is just getting more things to use within Halo. That's just my take on it. If we get that, I think this game is going to be absolutely phenomenal, and I understand some people's complaints with the game. Trust me, I have had my own. And, you know, there's certain times where I agree, like, yeah, I wish this game didn't have such a rough lifespan, but there's a lot of that's been done really well in this game, and I do think if you aren't trying out Halo Infinite and you're still sticking on to what it was 2 years ago before 343 went through their whole team change and really got settled down to who they are now, compared to what it was whenever this game was in development and came out, you were actually missing out on some really big moments in Halo, like, history and Halo's, you know, life cycle, especially with Infinite. I think this game is gearing up to be one of the strongest Halo releases ever. And probably one of the best Halo games. I think this game, you know, despite its issues, is going to be looked back on if they do this whole era right, where they're trying to fix things and make this game right. You know, definitely like, oh, it should have been like that on release. I get what you mean. I get your frustrations. I do. As someone who plays this game every day, I truly do understand some of them. I think some of them are kind of pointless and kind of dumb, but there are some that are valid, and I do understand it. But I think if they revamp this game and give it back the life that it's truly deserved and give it the love that it is truly deserving of, we're going to ramp in for a great game, even though we're at the end of its life cycle. I'm just excited to see all of this, and who knows, this could mean we're getting other things in this game as well. It seems like they're working really hard towards content that we didn't think we're going to get, and I think it does lead up to that kind of discussion of, well, what does the future hold for us as players? What can we expect to see? And I think with the next wave of operations with FleetCom, we're gonna get some really cool shit. I hope so. I hope it's not all just like cosmetic content. I know I've talked about that in the past. Like, yeah, I would just like some actual content, and it seems like FleetCom's gonna be fucking huge. Kind of like Spirit of Fire was. Like, it was pretty damn robust. We got a lot of changes, and this as times went on, we've got like some smaller, minute ones, but we've still got changes. But I hope they do focus and add some more stuff to the game. And just make it better. Just make it the best game they possibly can. And I hope that really does bring a lot of players back. I hope it really does allow for some people to return. But there's some other things I've wanted to talk about as well. Recently, if y'all don't know, I have a little friend in the Halo community. His name is Sergeant Blair. He's a Twitch streamer, also does YouTube content. I'll probably link his stuff down below just because he's awesome. And he's done a video with me. We might be working on something else as well. I'm not 100% sure yet. I'm still trying to plan it out. I've just been really fucking busy. But Blair was recently streaming, and we had a little bit of a conversation. Why does somebody need to mow right now? Why are we doing this? Son of a bitch. I hope you all can't hear that. If you do, I'm deeply sorry. If it's like kind of in the background. But anyway, he was trying to talk on his stream recently, and it was something that came up that I've actually been really wanting to talk about. So I want to put my 2 cents on this. So recently he got us a question like, what's your opinion on like where the community stands? It was something along that lines, and he was like, I do to a degree wish we would throw old school Halo fans a bone. Give them a game that is just classic Halo. Rather, that's a Halo 3 anniversary or whatever it may be. Just something that kind of appeals to a little bit of the grounds of both Halo players. And I mean, I think most people know that hardcore Halo players like myself and like a bunch of people who still stream Halo, no matter what you give us, as long as it's good Halo, we are going to play it. But there are the old school fans that you do wish for a more classic game where it's, you know, no sprint, very easy movements. Still has like a little bit of a skill gap too. Just like that old school Halo feel, kind of like Halo 2, like Halo 1, 2, and 3. Where it's very simplistic in design, but it has its own little things that kind of make it very unique. And honestly, I'm kind of all here for that. If they give us a classic Halo, you all know that I'm still going to be playing the fuck out of it. While I do love where Halo Infinite is, and I love Halo 4 and 5 just as much, despite not having the most time with Halo 5, I still love those games, and I like the route that 343's went, and especially with Halo Infinite and how its multiplayer component works. How the maps feel, how the gunplay feels, and just it feels very unique, and it feels like it has a sense of identity that kind of feels like classic Halo, but it feels like 343's take on classic Halo to a degree, and I absolutely love that to death about this game. But I am all for them throwing a bone to the old school fans and being like, hey, we can still do this. And my only worry is, yeah, you may bring back old Halo fans, But there's also like the conversation to be have of, well, how long would they even play the game? Would they even really give a shit about it, or is it just them trying to prick and prod to get a Bungie game again? I think that conversation goes both ways. I think there are people who definitely do miss old school Halo. I do to even a degree. I still love going back and playing the old Halo titles because I just really do enjoy them a lot. To me, they are just really fucking fun. And they're a part of my childhood, so there's definitely the nostalgia factor added upon that. And I don't think it'd be necessarily a bad thing to just throw those old players a bone and be like, hey, here's a game for you, and just right beside my window. Anyway, like I was saying, I think a lot of like Halo's core fans, no matter how a game like that would perform, would still stick around and absolutely love it. I will say, the thing that would make doing a classic Halo the hardest thing to do right now is that gamers really want an engaging fucking game, a game that is constantly engaging, a game that is constantly like has something going on, to where they really don't have to think too much about certain things. Now, of course, there's people who do love games like that. For example, Counter-Strike is a game where it's not always engaging. There's just small things going on that you have to pay attention for at all times that really do keep the games going. And there is a certain player base that absolutely loves that, but I don't think a lot of like arcadey arena style FPS games will do well kind of like that, at least comparative to games like Halo Infinite or COD and stuff like that. It's weird. Like we are in a weird time for games, specifically in the FPS genre, where things have to be done a certain way in order for that game to succeed. And I think that is a conversation that should be had when it comes to, well, why are certain decisions made with games that people may not like? Like, for example, as much as I don't like COD nowadays, I understand why COD is so heavily focused on Warzone. That's what brings them money, and it's what people want, even though it does seem to be dying it down, and that does make me kind of fucking happy because I don't like Battle Royales. But that is a certain conversation we should have whenever it comes to making a classic Halo title, something that doesn't have sprint or something that has just the traditional OG movement of Halo, because it is a huge part of Halo's identity is the classic Halo style. As much as I do love it, I understand the identity that people hold to Halo when it comes to a game that plays like that. So trust me, I get it, and I do want that for those fans because I think they deserve to be, you know, understood and talked about and heard from because, well, they are a part of Halo's fan base, no matter if we like it or not. Because trust me, there are certain things that I disagree with a lot that they have to say about Halo in its current state. But hey, that's just me, and I do think they are valid enough to be like, hey, well, the game just doesn't appeal to me. Which I think is a valid criticism and not just 343 bad because 343 bad. I think there's other valid things that you could say that make much more sense and hold much more weight of like, hey, this game just isn't for me. And I wish we had a game that would come out that was actually for me. That game that I would actually enjoy. And I do hope we get that. I truly fucking do. Because, well, those players deserve something. You know, rather it's a big thing for MCC or not. Dude, I fucked up that whole fucking shot. God damn. Why does this dude want my asshole so badly? Get away from me. Boop. Alright, we're going again. Fuck it. This is the funnest thing about this map is just going for shots on this fucking lift. I'm gonna up my sensitivity again. Fuck it. We're gonna go for like something crazy. Just say fuck it. Oh my god, imagine if that fucking hit. That'd have been crazy. I fucking hit markered it. Oh, pimp's coming in, baby. Let's fucking go. Holy shit. We hit it. Alright, guys. It's been your boy, Coreboy. I love you all, and I will see you later.